So, what if I told you that an entire spiritual philosophy, a path to what one author calls an immortal island, could be boiled down to just 3 words? Yep, not thousands of books, not a bunch of complex rituals, just 3 simple concepts. Okay, let's dive into this and see what they are.
The source material we're looking at today kicks off with this really powerful idea. It's basically saying that real truth, well, it isn't complicated. It's supposed to be direct. It's concise. And that idea sets us on a journey to find that one simple, true teaching.
And it turns out this whole philosophy, this, bridge to a state of perfect being, is built on just 3 fundamental pillars. 3 core ideas that, if you can perfect them, are supposed to unlock, well, everything.
And here they are. These are the 3 characters that form the foundation for everything we're talking about today. You've got Shin, or Sin, which means faith. Then there's I, or I, meaning love. And finally, Sing, or Sing, which translates to nature, or your innate essence. So, let's break down what each of these really means.
All right, first up is faith. And according to the author, this is absolutely the most crucial first step. Before you can even think about doing anything else, you have to solve the problem of faith.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this definition. This isn't about believing in one specific thing over another. Sin is described as a pure psychological state, a state of absolute conviction, completely, 100% free of any doubt. It's the certainty itself that holds all the power. Which, of course, leads to the obvious question, right? If the state of believing is what's so important, does it even matter what you actually believe in? Well, the author's answer is pretty wild. So the author starts with the conventional answers, the ones we'd expect. You can put your absolute faith in traditional spiritual figures, God, Buddha, Lao Tzu. That makes sense, right? That's what we usually think of when we talk about faith.
But then, the whole thing takes a sharp turn. The text says you could just as easily put that exact same total belief in demons, ghosts, or even something as material as money. The point isn't what you believe in, it's how totally you believe.
And this example just perfectly illustrates the point. The source says you could even place your unwavering, absolute faith in something as simple, as humble as a caterpillar.
And here it is, the most challenging idea of all. You can believe in a total lie, but if you believe in it with absolute, unshakable conviction, without a single shred of doubt, that belief will actually shape your reality. The object of your faith is completely irrelevant.
So here's the big takeaway. The power isn't in God or money or that caterpillar. The power is in you. It's in the act of believing itself. Absolute conviction is the engine that makes things happen.
The text paints this really stark contrast. A life of faith is like clear skies, a path of flowers. It's full of joy and freedom. But the second that doubt creeps in, it's like dark clouds rolling in. It brings howling winds and restless spirits into your life, creating total turmoil and chaos.
Okay, so let's move on to the second pillar and see how this all builds. After you master faith, the next step is love, or A. But listen, this is not love as an emotion we feel for someone. This is about love as a fundamental state of being.
The author describes this state of love as being like a flower in full bloom. Literally the most beautiful condition possible in the universe. When a person becomes love, they embody everything that is pure and sacred and radiant. So what does this ideal state of love actually look like? Well, according to the source, it's a love that has 0 demands and attaches absolutely no conditions. And because it expects nothing back, it's a state that literally cannot be hurt. It's just pure, selfless, unconditional giving, completely free from all the pain and suffering that usually comes with our normal ideas of love.
And just as important, let's look at what this love is not. If the thing you're calling love leads to anger or blame or anxiety or any kind of psychological pain, the author argues that it's not truly amoy. It's something else entirely. It's a transaction, a conditional attachment that is basically guaranteed to cause suffering.
And that brings us to the final pillar, Sing, or X. Now this one is maybe the most abstract concept. It refers to your authentic, original, innate nature, your true self. The text defines Xing as the original magnetic field of your being. I mean, think of it like your factory settings, your core essence before it gets all covered up by external conditioning, by what society expects, and by your own constant overthinking. It is who you really are at your very core.
So how do you actually live this? Well, the guide here is surprisingly simple. First, you just act naturally. Follow your innate impulses without second-guessing every little thing. And second, stop calculating. Don't constantly weigh the pros and cons. Just live out your true self authentically and spontaneously.
So, there we have it, the three pillars: unwavering faith, unconditional love, and authentic nature. So, how do they all come together? Well, they form the bridge to what the author calls the Immortal Island, basically paradise.
Here's the complete path, all laid out. You start by mastering a state of absolute faith. From that solid foundation, you cultivate yourself and become a being of pure, unconditional love. And finally, you live your life in perfect harmony with your true innate nature. That, according to this philosophy, is the entire journey.
Which leaves us with a final and pretty provocative thought. The source text says that absolute belief is a kind of superpower that can be pointed at anything, even a lie. So, what would happen if you turned that incredible power inward? What could you achieve if you placed that same unwavering, absolute faith simply in yourself?